have a really nice film camera, you get a digital back.
A lot of people have talked about it. I think some were done at the very early stages of digital photography. I don't know of any existing device along those lines being created, for the simple reason that the digital hardware to process all of this stuff is so vastly different than the interior mechanics of the film camera that it's hard to fit all the pieces into an existing film camera. Added bonus, if you actually get a digital body for your existing film lenses, the digital body will be lighter and smaller. Well, that's a lie. The digital body will be differently shaped than your existing film camera because there's no roll of film in one side of it anymore. Warning to anybody who's handled film cameras. No, there is no left side of my camera. It's not there. It's because there's no film here. There's no need for it there, so it simply doesn't exist. The upside is I use such enormous lenses that my left hand is always on the lens. Round two.
It's a very stupid question, but you know, I've used a tripod, which that's probably a necessity for picture taking.
Yes. I don't use a tripod at all. I own one. Actually, that's a lie. My sister owns one. She lends it to me because she never uses it. It lives in my truck. When I get desperate, I pull it out. This is because the pictures I take are pictures I find in my daily wanderings, and I don't load up to go out and take pictures. I just take pictures with me all the time, which means anything beyond one lens, one body is too much gear for me to lug. Because at the same time I'm lugging a laptop, books, papers, power adapters, accessories, all this other crap. I'm pretty sure I can get a full loadout for my daily job somewhere around 40 pounds. Because of course then I have to carry I carry my camera during my day job because this is when I run into a lot of my pictures. Okay, I got 20 pounds of crap to do my job and the 20 pounds of crap to do the fun at the same time. It can get rather heavy, and I don't have time to use the tripod. That said, if you want to do long exposures, particularly long night exposures, get a tripod and learn how to use it, because it can take care of the issues that shaky hands create. Okay, somebody stand up with a question. Comment. Witty remark. Everybody's shaking their heads and staring at me blankly. This is good stuff?
For me.
Okay. Does aperture make sense to everyone? Does it have a basic understanding of what you end up with doing? Does ISO and what it ends up doing make sense? Shutter speed. Everybody got these three things. If you got those three things, I have in fact won as far as I'm concerned in this talk, because that was the part I wanted to get across. Because with those three, you stand a chance at actually pulling off the picture you want.
We're talking about camera brands. You said go either with Canon or Nikon. Is it because you know or heard bad experiences with other brands, or you just know that those are good?
I know that those are good. I have friends who run both variants of hardware. I have friends who have both variants of lenses. Nikon and Canon have both been around for an incredibly long time. Their existing film line of cameras still exist, and they still build them and they still sell them. In fact, you can pick them up cheap, which means that you can go wander over to eBay and buy a film kit from somebody and swap out one component, or not swap out, add one component, a digital body to it. And now you have a camera that, I went to digital photography for one reason. It was cheaper. After 5,000 pictures, it was cheaper for me to buy the digital body than it was for me to process film. I broke that line a long time ago. Do the math, figure out what film processing runs you, and then ask yourself.
heard that a Fuji makes you slashing down whatever sits in my closet. I never buy anything for proprietary lenses. You can't interchange, you can't do it. Pretty much stuck to what company said it is.
Good point. If you're going to be hunting camera gear, you're going to be wanting to find camera gear that's compatible with the standard, that's been around for a while and will continue to be around for a while. Because if you start down one path, you're going to buy a lens and a camera. And then in 3 years, megapixel NV will get you, and you'll go buy another body. And then you'll realize the one lens you have doesn't do it for when you want to go out and chase birds around, which I've done, which is why I ended up with this thing, which is a 300 millimeter lens. Yes, I can read license plates at 400 yards with this. My guys at my office didn't believe me, so I walked out to the window and shot a license plate at 400 yards and showed it to them. They said, "You're crazy, man." Wonderful for chasing wildlife if you like hunting gear but without a rifle. Works great. And then you'll find out that these lenses don't work because these were the first two lenses I bought. Next lens I bought was a 50 millimeter f1.8 because I wasn't able to do portrait shots and I wasn't able to work in the dark, where dark is anything after the sun sets and you're out in the city. That's dark. You don't notice it because your eyes are doing wonderful things. Your eyes are incredibly effective at hiding the details of what the environment actually looks like. Okay, according to the watch in front of me, I have 2 minutes to burn. Colonel, of course, says I have 10, which means I can go on longer. Anything else?
One quick one. First off, I'm going to throw down my love and support for Canon.
Okay, excellent. We have one vote for Canon. Would anyone like to vote for Nikon? We don't have KK here, so he can't vote for it. Okay, we have 2 votes.
3 for the Canon. However, if you're not really willing to drop a grand on an SLR, although you're morally opposed to it, can you recommend anything in the lower end brands, or is it still Canon? In the $300-400 home consumer.
In the $300-400 home consumer range. If I'm going down that path, what I tend to do is I tend to look for something from Canon or from Nikon because they tend to have interface coherency between their brands. This way, first thing is I wander into the store and start looking for the camera with the biggest front end lens on it in the price range I'm willing to pay. Particularly if you can't swap the lenses out, that's the lens you're going to be stuck with. And if you can't get an aperture opening on it, you're not going to get portrait shots.
The starting point's almost the biggest lens.
Real close. Then look at your imaging sensor. Determine if that's going to be enough megapixels for you. I'm not going into the esoteric details of how megapixels are actually calculated and what they actually do. You can harass me later if you actually are interested in the shell game that are megapixels. Look at the lens. I choose Canon or Nikon because then you're familiar with the control interface, which will be nearly identical when you pop up, when you finally make it to something bigger because you've decided you want to go down that road, and you won't regret it because you'll still be able to get spare parts if you don't go down that road. Look at the lens, look at the imaging sensor, and finally look at the media it uses to store your image. I am a big fan of compact flash. It's cheap. You can get it in flash or you can get IBM micro drives. You can load a gig into the side of your camera and you can shoot pictures all day, not delete a single one, and then, like I said, go back that next day, look through them, find the ones you want. Don't delete in the field, delete at your computer. That answer your question? Excellent.
Also, I had a $300 mic.
Yes?
That was great.
They typically are because they're typically built by the same engineers.
And it because I had a big one.
Yep. Believe it or not, lens size matters. It's a big deal, and that's one of the biggest things if you aren't going to be able to swap your lens. Okay. I want to thank you all for sitting through me ad-libbing this for the last half hour. I want to thank you more for sitting through my prepared talk. And if you want to hunt me down, I'll be floating around in the network room shortly.